Well, hi gang, Got That Funk with you, and I've just come for a little walk in the graveyard on my lunch break because it's a beautiful day, and this is the quietest place I can think of to come in town to do a video for you guys. Now, I thought it's been a while. I meant to be doing at least one a week in my series about socialized healthcare, but other things have sort of gotten in the way, so it's about time I got back to it anyway. So, in this video, I'm going to tell you some of my personal stories about my own experiences with healthcare, both in America and here in the UK where I live now. And we'll do a little compare and contrast, shall we? Right, first of all, let's talk about me. When I was 20 years old, I had a birthday party up for my 20th birthday. Long story short, I swallowed a bottle cap and it got stuck right here in my throat. I was rushed to hospital by one of my friends who had been drinking. Hospital was about 10 miles away. Anyway, when we got there, I thought I was dying. I couldn't breathe. And I literally thought I was dying. But when I got to the hospital, they wouldn't let me in the front door because they asked me straight off the bat if I had insurance. And when I said no, they went inside and brought me out a clipboard with some forms on it while I'm asphyxiating and made me sign a piece of paper saying that no matter what the cost, I would pay for it. Now, of course, I thought I was dying. I would have signed anything. I would have signed in blood, of course. Now, when I did sign the form and they took me inside, they got one of the on-duty doctors to try to get it out with some things they stuffed down my nose and throat. Didn't work, knocked it down to my chest, so they had to call a specialist to come and get it out because it was down here somewhere by my sternum. And long story short, calling a specialist alone cost me about $1,500. See if I can get this into balance without the wind knocking it over. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry guys, hang in there. Alright. Anyway, specialist surgeon cost about $1,500 to come in on a Saturday night. Sleeping in the hospital bed, just sleeping in the bed with no care, just sleeping in the bed. They charged me $350 for that. The next morning I had to have 2 Tylenol pills, which for the UK viewers, that's paracetamol basically. Not prescription ones, but the kind you get over the counter. 2 pills. They charged me $17 for that. And of course they charge that kind of money because normally insurance companies are picking up the tab. So the prices are artificially inflated. Now I contrast that with my experiences with healthcare in this country. Both my children were born in this country, completely free on the NHS. My son was born at home, and we had all the prenatal care with midwives coming to visit in our home. Obviously, when the midwives came, they came at 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 of them, and delivered our son on the bed that I still sleep on now. And all that was completely free. When Falcon got appendicitis, he spent 14 days and nights in the hospital. I was there for 12 of them, 24 hours a day. Not only did he receive excellent care, including intensive care, but the compassion and the empathy that the NHS staff showed myself and my family was truly extraordinary. So yeah, I have absolutely no complaints about the NHS, and you know, it's far from a perfect system. Here's another story for you. I used to have a hyperactive thyroid, and I had to drink radioactive water to kill it because it was overacting. And long story short, I was this close to having a heart attack about a month before my 40th birthday. So I went in for this to drink some radiation stuff, and as a result, it's killed most of my thyroid gland, which means now I have to take replacement thyroxine to replace the hormone that my body normally would produce, but it's now incapable of producing. Now, because I need this hormone in order to survive, I get a prescription on the NHS for free. I have a permanent medical exemption certificate, which means that not only for that prescription, but for any medication I ever need in this country, from now until the time I die or the time I leave this country, I get for free as long as there's an NHS. Now, what does that cost? I want my American friends to pay close attention to this part. The national insurance contribution, which is the part of your wages that they take towards healthcare and other things, but mostly healthcare. At the time my son was in hospital, and national insurance contribution was 9% of your wages, up to about £23,000 a year. After £23,000 a year, you don't have anything taken off. That's it. So for the first £23,000, you get 9%. I think it's now 10%, but back then it was 9%. Let's just say 10% for the sake of round numbers. Not 10% of all of your wages, just 10% up into a certain ceiling, and then after that, there's no more contribution for NHS taken from your wages. Now actually, I've been an advocate for them to remove the ceiling because it would free up an awful lot more funds, which are badly needed. I'm not one of these people who thinks that you can throw money at every problem and fix it that way, but certain problems need money to be fixed, it's for sure. And the NHS is so important that I think the ceiling should be either removed or raised to like $100 grand a year or something like that. Anyway, the reason I want my American friends to pay attention, because you might think having 9% tax rise sounds pretty steep, and it is. On the other hand, that 9% of your wages for total healthcare coverage. I want to repeat that. Total healthcare coverage. It doesn't matter what I get. I can get any kind of cancer and I can get treatment for it. I can have a heart attack and get treatment for that. I can have any kind of accident and get treatment for it. I don't have to fill out forms. I don't have to wonder if I'm covered. 100% coverage. How much would a policy in America cost for 100% coverage, so that no matter what happened to you, you were covered? To me, that's worth 9% of my wages or 10% of my wages. Especially when they don't take 10% off 100% of the wages. Like I say, there's a ceiling. So come on. Those of you who want to keep your health care package because you think you've got a good one, good for you. I hope it is a good one. But I'll bet you're not covered for any and every eventuality. So I want you to ask yourself, how much is too much to pay for total coverage? I'm going to talk more about this issue in the coming week or so. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to work. The clouds are starting to come. This is Got That Funk. Thanks for listening. May all your ups and downs be ups.